will do.
Good evening, everyone, and welcome. Yeah, my name is Moses Kahure. I am the Kenya lead for DirectEd Development Foundation, and it's so nice to have you all in attendance. I know it's been a long time coming since the time you guys shared your application, or rather sent in the applications. But the time has come, so we are going to have this session, info session. It will be a very, very engaging program. We'll get to hear from different speakers, but more or less is to give an overview and for everyone to know what our program really entails. So with us, we have about 6 speakers. So hopefully you'll all be able to listen to all of them. Then at the end of it all, we'll have a session where we'll open a floor for question and answers. So if you, in case you have anything that needs to be clarified in regard to the program, so you'll also have an opportunity where we'll also open that floor for that. So I think without much further ado, I'm going to welcome Simon Salstrom, who is our CEO. He's going to give us a program overview. Then you'll also have a chance to hear from Kidus Elias, who is our curriculum lead. He will also talk more about our bootcamp, basically. And then we'll have Christine Karimi, our chief examiner. She will also expound more on the examination processes and also on the internships. Then with us, we have 2 amazing students who went through our program this year, sorry, first cohort. So we have Elizabeth Gitau and Dennis Mwangangi from Maryhill Girls and Mangu High School, respectively, who they're going to share their experience during during their time in the program. And we also have one of our parents with us, parents one Dennis Mwangangi with us. So we'll also have an opportunity to hear from you and also maybe talk to us and include even the parents. So yeah, sit back, relax, and yes, I think Simon, you can take over the floor.
Okay. Thank you, Moses. Karibu, Jambo, everyone. Habari ya Ajioni, I think should be.
Yeah.
So let me start by saying that we are very much a multinational organization based in over 10 different countries. Myself, I'm normally based in Oxford in the UK, but with us today we have Kidus Elias from Addis Ababa and Christine and both Moses, both in Nairobi. Now, before I get into the details of what we do, I'd just like to say that many people ask us, why do we do what we do? And it boils down to all of us on who's part of DirectEd. We're all people who have gone through a lot and gotten a lot of opportunities. And so, oh, let me just actually remove, let me just clear. So, okay, let's disable drawings. But now, so all of us who are part of the team have been given a lot of opportunities thanks to education. And the reason why we started DirectEd is because we believe in bringing out the best out of every student. We want to give every person in the world the opportunity to realize their full potential, regardless of the draw in the lottery of life. I myself was born and raised in Stockholm, Sweden. I've attended multiple prestigious universities, including UC Berkeley in California. Most recently, I finished my master's in economics at the University of Oxford, where I met Brian Mugendi, who introduced me to Moses and Fasika, some of the co-founders, and eventually together we've built DirectEd over the past 2 years. So let me give you a bit of an overview what to expect today. We'll talk about the problem, opportunity, and solution. We'll talk about the program and a little bit about the bootcamp eligibility and the Access Scholarship. What do they entail? Uh, Check if your mic is muted, because if it's not, then I will mute you. Now, so what is the problem? Well, it's a two-sided problem. On one side, you have Western tech companies looking for IT skills. As much as 500,000 are estimated to be missing in Europe alone. And thanks to the COVID pandemic, many companies are more willing to outsource work and have team members in other parts of the world, which wasn't previously, accepted. Now, this is an opportunity, and it's been recognized with a lot of tech companies within Africa being able to raise money. As much as 3.5 billion, the record amount of money was raised from venture capital in the first half of 2022 by 445 African tech companies. But these companies need talent themselves, and as much as 70% report that this is a constraint for them in order for them to build their businesses. Of course, as you all know, Nairobi is leading the charge in Kenya broadly. Let's look at the opportunities, though. If you are to work for Western tech companies, entry-level software engineers in the US is as much as $150,000 per year. In Europe, of course, it's going to be lower, but even in Europe, it's $5,000 per month for average software engineering. Within Africa, if we look at the top earning countries, South Africa, 3,400, 2,300 in Morocco, 1,700 per month in Kenya. But these are just averages, and many of the top performing ones do very well, even way more than this. And they do so very often without university degrees, because software engineering is one of the few fields in which they actually don't care as much about your university degree. They care about the skills that you have, and they're very good at identifying the ones with the right skills. So this is what we realized that is an opportunity. We saw that we could help bring the brightest talents in Kenya and in Ethiopia to these companies, but these students need resources, both physical devices, but also knowledge of what is the best practice. What do I need to learn? There's so much you can learn on the internet, so many different languages. There's also a lack of transparency. These donors that we have, they don't trust blindly. They want to have assurance that the money is going to the right places. And so this is something we have to ensure in various ways. For example, by um, using a technology that I'll be talking about later. And lastly, in order to be able to study in a remote setting, you need to have accountability and more investment from from our side. We need to build measures for accountability. So what do? We do coding boot camps that prepare high potential African students for remote employment, realizing their potential as leaders of Africa's digital transformation. We facilitate access scholarships to needy students using blockchain technology for increased transparency and accountability. And I'll talk more about that later, so don't worry if you don't know what this means. Our vision for 2025 is to train 1,000 future leaders of African tech and increase their overall lifetime incomes by $40 million. And this all starts with you. Both parents and students need to be on board with this, because this is not an easy challenge. Here is our high level model. We call it the rocket ship. There are three parts to the rocket, and during each part, we invest more and more in the best students. So to begin with, we're just going to have this 1 week introductory course where you're going to learn the basics of programming. And at the end of this, have an exam. Then there's a coding boot camp.
Apologies, I think we lost Simon, but he should be joining us back soon. And maybe in the meantime, you could also encourage your parents to join in for those who haven't, uh, for those parents who've also not joined in. So you can encourage them to actually join in.
Okay, so sorry for that little hiccup. Sometimes internet is not perfectly reliable. So what this means is that we have an access scholarship for students who are not, who don't have the resources to participate in our program. This means you'll get a laptop to borrow, tutorial vouchers, some stipend money to pay for transportation and internet. And as with for everyone else, you'll have ba payouts based on achieving milestones. So we hold you accountable to this. So last thing I want to talk about is what is a blockchain and why is it useful? Let me take you back to Haiti. The year is 2010. Haiti had just been struck by a 7.5 magnitude earthquake. And all of a sudden, hundreds of thousands of students or people had lost their homes. And fortunately, the American Red Cross rallied and assembled more than $500 million to rebuild Haiti. But unfortunately, only 6 homes had been rebuilt when they came back there many years later. An independent investigation was launched to investigate what had happened with the money. So the problem here was that the donors were left asking, where did the money go? And did my donation make any difference? There was a lack of transparency. There was money going to the wrong pockets. And I'm sure you're familiar with these issues. So blockchain as a technology enables 2 things. The first thing is full transparency and traceability of where money is going. Anyone at any time of the day can look exactly what where any money went, to which wallet, from what wallet. Secondly, it removes middlemen, someone in between who has a lot of power to control money. So this is why blockchain increases trust amongst donors and reduces the money that's being lost along the way in delivering impact and delivering our program. There are 2 mechanisms why this leads to greater impact. First of all, if you have this transparency by design and ability to identify where all your funds are going, then you trust people, trust the program more, and you donate more. And then secondly, as I said, you get less money leaking away. So you get more efficiency and overall greater impact. So, but I haven't said what a blockchain is. So what is it? A blockchain is really just a type of database that uses advanced cryptography to decide who can change it. So cryptography, what is that? Well, it's very advanced mathematics. And a database I mean, well, you can store data in it. You can think of it as a spreadsheet. Um, but what about cryptocurrency? You might have heard of something called Bitcoin. This is something that is also based on blockchain technology, but it's very different. A lot of cryptocurrencies are used in scams and in speculation, and it's something we strongly discourage. But we believe that the underlying technology can be used for good things, similar to how cash can be used for very bad things, but it can also be useful. We believe that the same thing is true for blockchain. So we emphasize education a lot, and we make sure that our students are aware on how to identify scams, which is generally useful for them in life, so that we can get the benefit of this new technology while avoiding the harmful risks. Now, let's see here. Here are some images from our last year's cohort, starting with the MOU signed with Kagomo High School. uh, to the first access scholarships given to two of the girls from Mary Hill Girls High School in the middle. Overall, 14 access scholarships were given in the last cohort to 14 of the 40 scholars that were offered a place at the first Kenya boot camp. We had our launch day at Kenyatta University, or Yali East Africa Regional Leadership Center, where I had previously met with the incubation president, as you can see on the picture, the last picture here. Now, this is just to give you an overview of some of the team members. As I mentioned, overall, we have more than 20 people engaged from all over the world, but here is the sort of core team. I will now hand it over to Kidus, who is gonna walk you through the details. And I'll leave you with this one, and this is for the students. This boot camp and this program might very well be the hardest thing you've ever done. So it's all a matter of whether or not you are ready for this challenge. You might have gone to prestigious high schools, maybe you're ready to enter some of the top universities in the world or in Kenya, but I'll tell you this, being able to succeed as a software engineer remote is going to be much harder. Thank you.
Hi everyone, can you hear me?
Yes, we hear you.
Okay, good. Unfortunately, you might not get to see how I look today because I'm having driver issues on my computer. But my name is Gaddus Elias. I am from Ethiopia. I'm the curriculum design lead at DirectEd. And while you're studying with us, you'll mostly be talking to me about your education. And if you make it all the way to the internships, then we'll definitely be working together uh, almost 8 hours a day, which is awesome. So let me just share my screen. Can you see my screen?
Yep, see your screen.
Okay,
You
thank
might
you.
want to do full
Uh,
screen.
okay, good. So with me, we're gonna go over the boot camp and the introductory week. Basically, what are you gonna learn, and what you can expect. So here are the four things that we're going to go through. First, we're going to talk about the 1 week bootcamp that you're about to, the introduction to coding week that you're about to embark upon. Then we're going to talk about the main coding bootcamp, which is around 11 weeks. And then we're going to see what your schedule is going to look like for the next few months. And last but not least, I'll discuss the communication channels that we'll be using to provide you with information and for you to also reach us. So talking about the Introduction to Coding Bootcamp, it's going to be 1 week long and it's fully remote, meaning you don't have to come to any hub or any institution. You can take it uh, from wherever you are. And it's mobile based. So for those of you that don't have laptops, we've also taken that into consideration. And you can take the course using your mobile. You that do have laptops, you can also take the course using your computers. You might need tutorials to set up your computer in order to be able to code. So you're studying with us Monday to Friday. Daily schedule is going to look like the day is broken down into different chunks of. We have 8 to 10, 10 to 12, and each study session normally lasts for 2 hours. And during these 2 hours, you will cover a single module. So in the morning, you have two learning sessions and then a lunch break. And in the afternoon, you have one learning session. And at the end of the day, you do something fun, either group work or we might be having some workshops. Every day you're expected to attend stand-ups and afternoon. So your morning learning session begins with a Zoom stand-up. You're going to join a meeting just like this one, and there'll be attendance, and you'll find out more details about that soon enough. Now let's talk about the coding bootcamp, which you will join if you actually pass the exam by the end of the intro week. Here it's going to be like 11 weeks of fun, friendships, and coding, and mainly you're going to learn how to build websites. So we're going to teach you the basics, JavaScript, and then you're gonna go ahead and build, and then you're gonna go ahead and learn more like React, Node, Mongo Express. Uh, some of the websites maybe you might be building with us, you'll build an Airbnb clone, meme generator, and many, many more. So during this bootcamp, we try to use the latest technologies and pedagogical principles like spaced repetition and the like. Additionally, we don't only focus on giving you technical training or hard skill training. You'll also be given soft skill training by very, very by very, very smart individuals from like Harvard, Oxford, and different universities. And these soft skill trainings are going to focus on your communication skills, time management, and the like. So here are some of the people that you'll meet that I just mentioned. So first one, we have Konrad Kopp. He is a serial tech entrepreneur, and he dropped out of from Oxford University to start his own startup, which he sold. We have Jessica Pointing. She's going to give you a workshop on how you can land job offers, and she has a bachelor's in quantum computing from Harvard, and she's also worked at different companies and interned at different companies such as NASA, also a Goldman Sachs scholar. We also have Christine Karimi. She's going to be your examiner. She's a Moringa School team lead, having more than 4 years of experience, and she has a bachelor's in education from Kenyatta University. And to these people, we have a lot of other people coming in to give you these trainings through our partnership with Yali. So the question is, now you've seen what you're going to study, what does it take to actually win the scholarship and be a part of this bootcamp? So it's very simple. Let me just paint you a picture. So initially, everyone who's actually applied is going to go into the 1 week introductory week, the 1 week bootcamp, the 1 week course, the introductory week course. And this is going to be where you learn Python, and there will be an exam at the end of it. But after you're done with the exam, we have limited spots for basically each cohort. And I think we have around 50 spots this time around. So all of you that join the 1 week bootcamp are not going to make it through. And you need to study hard and It's basically spend grueling 8 hours of hard work on your phone studying every day in order to be able to make it through the exams. So now that we've established everything, let's look at what our schedule is going to be like for the next couple of months. So you'll be receiving an acceptance email on January 5. This will contain study materials and instructions on how to set up your devices. And then the course will begin on January 8th, that is Monday. There will be a morning stand-up session, a Zoom session, just like this one, in the morning at 8. And then by the end of the week, close to Saturday, there will be a selection exam that we run. Now, this is the exam that's going to determine whether or not you get admitted into the main bootcamp. Finally, after you take your exams and we're done with the grading, sometime in mid-February, we're going to make an announcement for those of you that have been accepted. And we'll also let you know when the coding bootcamp is going to begin. So last but not least, let's talk communication because we're going to be doing a lot of that while working together. So you can use the following emails that you see on the screen for curriculum and course content questions. You can reach out to edu@directed.dev. And for other concerns, you can reach out to us via kenya@directed.dev. We'll also set up a WhatsApp group from the phone numbers that you've provided. And you can also reach out to me using the number provided on the screen. You can also reach out to Moses using his number. Please, when you call me, since I'm not in Kenya, as 251, I'm in Ethiopia, do not try to directly call me. Please use WhatsApp for communication, or else you're going to incur in very high costs. So thank you, Simon. I'll pass it on to Christine. Christine, are you there? Moses, can you hear me?
I can hear you, Kidus. I think Christine. Okay, I think she was here, so she should be joining us soon.
Okay.
So in the meantime, you can note down all those contact details on how to
Okay.
reach us, me, or Kidus. So you can
Yes,
actually
and
note them down.
okay. Sorry, Moses. You can
Right.
continue.
No, it's okay. It's okay. I think I'm done. I'll just let them know so they can note down the numbers for easy communication.
Okay.
Yeah. Can you
Okay.
proceed?
I actually wanted to emphasize that you need to be on the lookout for an email containing the link to the WhatsApp group. So if you're not going to be part of the WhatsApp group, then you're going to miss out further announcements because that's the main channel we're going to use for communication, especially after the bootcamp started. Any schedule changes or even workshops that we have scheduled are going to be communicated using WhatsApp. So just be on the lookout for a link for the group. And in case your friends have already joined and you don't have access to the link, please reach out to me on WhatsApp and I'll share it with you, or you can get it from your friend.
Okay,
I,
so I think since Christine might seem to have some issues with the internet, I can talk about the next part, and perhaps Moses, you can reach out and check if she's how she's doing in the
okay.
meantime. Okay, so I'll now speak a little bit about the internships So as Kidus have mentioned, some of you will get the opportunity to join this boot camp. And in a similar fashion, we are using the boot camp as a selection mechanism for the last part, which is the graduate program or internship program. Um, this will mainly be with US and European tech startups, meaning that you will be able to work for them and get a small monthly stipend that you can use to pay for your expenses. Um, oh, okay. So now Christine seems to be back.
I think
Yes,
we have her on board, but she's unable to unmute herself. So let me try to unmute her.
yes. I think the case is that you cannot, if you're not a host, you cannot unmute yourself. So he just needs to make her a host or ask her to unmute.
I did. I did.
Okay. But there are two Christines actually in the meeting. I'm not sure which ones. I guess it should be Christine.
Yeah, she's
No,
there.
Yeah,
no,
yeah.
there was a Christine directed.
Okay,
Okay.
great, great.
Welcome, Christine.
Okay, thank you. Sorry for that. I just dropped out due to internet. Simon, how far had you gone?
I just said that the top students are selected for the internship, so you can just talk over the slides, and I can change slides whenever you want me to.
Okay, thank you. Hi, everyone. So I'll introduce myself again. You might have already heard my name. I'm Christine. We're going to be working together. I'll be your examiner. So at the end of every sprint, you're going to be coming into a call with me. And then we're going to be reviewing a code, and that's primarily what determines your progression from one sprint to another. So I'll walk you through the internships. So first of all, for you to qualify for an internship, you have to have successfully gone through sprint 1 all the way to sprint 5 for you to be accepted into the internships. Okay, so I think we can go to the next slide. Okay, so
Next.
at the end of the sprint, at the end of the 5th sprint, which is the last sprint, the top students are selected for internship opportunities. Most of them are full-time, but I think we might need to explore the part-time internships. So the purpose of the internships is just to help you get acquainted to the market, get specialization. So sometimes you could prefer to work on either front end or back end. This is an opportunity for you to get to specialize with that. It also gives you real life experience of what you've been learning. So while working with us at DirectEd, you're mostly going to be working on projects we come up with ourselves. I'll talk more about this later. So the purpose of the internship is just to help you get the experience, the real life experience of being a software engineer. It means working with an actual tech firm and delivering on what's required of you. Will also help you get your niche into the tech industry. So you could decide to specialize in something else other than what you learned. Learning software engineering opens doors such as learning cybersecurity, for instance, specializing in UI UX design. So the internship also offers a really good opportunity for you to be able to do this. Moving on to the next slide. So what's expected of you during the internships? So first of all, you're going to get into an interview. Qualifying from DirectEd, that means getting to the end of sprint 5 is not where that ends. You're going to get interviewed by these particular tech companies, and once you pass, then you get the opportunity to work with them. The expectations while working with them is you might be required to work for 30 to 40 hours in a week. So that's an approximate, obviously, because companies are different. You also may be required to learn a new stack. So this means maybe you learned React with DirectEd, but then you get into a certain company and they're working with Angular, for instance, you'll have to learn that. The good thing is the skills are transferable mostly, so it's very easy for you to learn one stack coming from another. You will also expect a monthly stipend based on output. So you have to deliver on what it is that you're doing. The stipend could be hourly, monthly, so it depends on the company that you work with. You're also expected to get into an approximate of 2-hour calls every day, after every 2 weeks, or a week. Again, so it depends on the company that you get to work with. You also expect a lot of support from DirectEd team. We will be there to support you technically, because it's different when you're studying and it's different when you're working. You definitely need someone to hold your hand through the process. We will still be supporting. Kidus and I will be working with you during the internships. If you have a problem with the internet, we can also support you with that, a laptop, and so on and so forth. So we do have mechanisms in support for your learning while working with these particular companies. You can also expect upskilling workshops every month. We try to get you, so tech keeps changing, and you need to stay on your toes, learning what's new, learning different things aside from what you already know. So at DirectEd, we will be having workshops every month. We will try have at least once every month. The workshops will be run by people working in these industries. So if we're talking about cybersecurity workshop, we will be having someone from the cybersecurity industry come talk to us about that, and so on and so forth. Sometimes it's also previous students from DirectEd. So we have already run one boot camp successfully with our students working in some of these tech firms. We have Tally, which is based in New York. We have Lido Nation, and we have Bubble as well. So these are some of our internship partners. At DirectEd, we also provide internship opportunity with us as well, if you qualify, and the internships build you up as a software engineer. Moving on to the next slide. Okay, so for you to be able to get to the internship bit, it means you've done exams from sprint 1 all the way to sprint 5, and you have passed. So for this session, I'll be telling you how we run the assessments at DirectEd and what determines your progression to another. I'll be very brief, so if you have any questions, you can ask towards the end of this particular session, and we'll have more discussions even during the bootcamp on how the process goes. So next slide. So for the examinations, our exams are project-based, and this is specifically for the coding bootcamp. The intro week, which is where we're starting off from, is a bit different. I'll talk about that. So assuming you've made it into the coding bootcamp after the intro week exam, the assessments during the sprints are all project-based. So you will have the opportunity to choose a game, as you can see on the left side of the presentation, or a social platform on the right side of my application. So you'll have the opportunity to choose whichever you'd be interested in, either a game or a social platform. And this is what you're supposed to build up on in groups of 4 to 5. And that's from sprint 2 all the way to sprint 5. So after working on a project in groups, we then get into, so this is the next slide. After working in the projects, we get into an oral interview, maybe let's call it an oral exam, where you get to explain the code that you delivered on as a group. This means that despite working in a group of about 4 or 5 people, you need to be able to understand the code that was delivered on by your group members. This calls for a lot of collaboration in a way that you can explain something you didn't work on yourself. Helps a lot with learning. So the group project, these are pass mark, but what really determines your progression is the oral exam. So you may pass as a group, but for you to move on from one sprint to another, you have to pass the oral exam, which ideally entails explaining the code that you've worked on as a group. The oral exam takes somewhere between 6 to 10 minutes, and it happens at the end of every sprint. So you work on a project in groups as a summary, and then we get into an oral session where you explain what you worked on as a group. And then based on the rubrics that are usually provided to you. Okay. Sorry, I got distracted by the message in the chat. We then get into an oral session where you explain your code. Based on the rubric provided, you either pass or fail. So a sprint is a module, or you can think about it as the way our content is arranged. So you start from the basics, which is basically HTML and CSS for those of you who have some basic understanding of how coding works. And then you advance to the next stage, which is harder than the first one. And then you advance to the next all the way to the end, kind of like the way you have semesters in universities or terms in high school. So one term builds on to another and so on and so forth. So that's what a sprint means. Please let me know if it makes sense. So that's for group projects. For individual projects, that's going to be done in sprint 1. So that's module 1 and module 5. But for all this, for the individual work and for group projects, there's a common factor in that you have to do an oral exam for both of them. And this is what determines your progression from one module or sprint to the next. So I don't know if there's any questions. I'd like to emphasize that the project-based exam is purely for the coding bootcamp. For the intra-week exam, we administer that via HackerRank. So not to worry about that. At the end of next week on Friday, we will have a session on that. But for the intra-week exam, we do it on HackerRank, where you get to sit for an exam, a multiple choice exam and a coding exam. And that's what determines your progression to the coding bootcamp. So we will talk more on the intra-week exam. Kiddos mentioned a little bit about it. We will have an info session at the end of the intra-week next week on the same. So I'll just pause there for questions if there are any.
I think we have opening for questions after the students have had their chance to
Okay.
present. So we have now, yeah, so I'll let Moses take over.
Okay, thank you so much, Simon and Christine. So next in line, we have one of our DirectEd scholars. We have Elizabeth Gitau, who is a former student of Mary Hill Girls High School, and also who is currently on a paid internship with one of our partner Western Tech firms called Tally. So without further ado, we can welcome Christine. Christine, I think you can proceed. Elizabeth, I think you can proceed. Maybe Kidus, you can unmute Elizabeth.
Okay.
Thank you for the opportunity. Good evening, everyone. As said before, my name is Elizabeth Gitau. A former student at the Mary Hill Girls High School, and also an alumni of the DirectEd Development Foundation. And okay, I think I'm here just to break the tension. Okay, I think I'm just here to break the tension between the very much demanding and very much okay, I'm lacking the words, but I think you get it. Like, okay, the bootcamp seems really hard and really tough, especially as a new student into the world from high school. And I think I'm here just to break that tension and tell you guys that, yeah, it is possible. It might seem hard when Christian says that there are oral exams after every sprint. And they say that it's a whole 6 months of studying. There are limited spaces. Yes, there might be limited spaces, but I believe that if you put in the hard work, you will be part of those limited students who proceed to the bootcamp. So yeah, I'm here just to encourage you guys. Whenever it gets tough, just push on and remember that at the end of everything, there's always a reward. So in this case, I think the reward is the internship. As said by Moses, I am an intern with Tally, and okay, I'll talk about everything. The bootcamp is really challenging. It's as everything has been said even by kiddos. The curriculum needs a lot of effort and it needs a lot of hard work from you. And it might be challenging, but just push on. And emerging to be the best does reward. You get internships with the great partner institutions of DirectEd that pay really well, and that pay really does help. That small stipend helps, especially as a university student. You don't have to apply for help, and that will be some sort of a relief to your parents, since your parents won't have to to give you bus fare, to give you lunch money, and to give you everything that you need to stay in the hostel. Okay, sorry. Yeah, that's the small stipend that you get from this internship will be really helpful. Okay, afterwards. Yes, it might seem tough during the bootcamp. I remember during my intro bootcamp, this is something I've said a lot of times, but I do remember during my intro week, I joined 3 days after everyone had started. I don't know how it happened, but it happened. I joined 3 days after everyone had started. So by the time I'm joining, I'm late. I don't know what everyone is talking about. I've never studied coding before. I have no idea of what we're supposed to do. I didn't know we had morning and evening stand-ups. So I'm just there, I'm calling whatever number I see in the group, asking, what are we doing? Where do we start? And I did manage to get through to the 6 months bootcamp, which is by the grace of God. So I'm just here to tell you, you who have joined on the first day, you are much better than me who joined 3 days after everyone had joined. So I guess that's some sort of a push to you, something like that. That you too can make it if I did make it after 3 days. So also okay, I have a question here. I was not familiar with coding when I joined. I wasn't even supposed to do anything to do with coding for my course. I was going to go to Delaware in the United States of America to study medicine. But here I am studying computer science in the University of Nairobi. An intern with Sally, that's something that people in my class in university don't have. People are not earning. People are using help. You use help, it's over. By the time the time the semester is at the middle, you don't have anything. But me, after every month, my M-Pesa has money. After every month, my bank account has money. After every month, I'm buying a phone. After every month, I save, I buy a new laptop. After every month, I have headphones. So every month, it's something great as a student. You get the freedom to feel how it feels for other people out there. You get to learn with the people you work with. You get to know that if I use this skill here, it will help me. You get to gain skills that can help you work as a freelancer, even after the boot camp, even after the internship. You can get hired by these partner institutions after the internship. By the time your peers are finishing 4th year, you will also finish with them 4th year, but you'll have 4 years experience. In your CV, you'll write, I'm a graduate of the University of Nairobi, Kenyatta University. I also have 4 years experience. That's unheard of, really. And I think that's a great thing. I think this is a great opportunity for each and every one of you. And I'm here specifically to talk to everyone, and especially to the girls, whether from NRCF, whether from Mary Hill girls, whether from whatever high school you are from. You girls who seated there the way I was seated 3 days earlier in a new meeting with new people that I don't know. People say tech is for boys. I don't believe tech is for boys. I don't believe there's anything that is for boys. Everything is for everyone. I managed to be the 3rd student in a group of very many boys. At the end of the bootcamp, I was the 3rd student. I know, unheard of, a girl doing very well in tech. Unheard of. I am in I am working at Tally with 3 boys, Dennis, Victor, Buton, and me. Don't forget the girl there, Elizabeth. So you girl who is seated there, just feel empowered, feel encouraged. I'll give out my number. If you want to talk, I'm here. Just you feel that I can do it. There, I'm the last one. The other boys are at the top. You can also do it. You can earn that little money that people earn if you're the first, the second, or the third student for each sprint. You can work really hard, and like I do earn right now after the boot camp. You can do everything that you want to do with that little money. That I will continue emphasizing on that. That is the reward that you get for the hard work that's the reward you get for the hard work that you will have put in the boot camp. That small stipend, that is your reward. And I want to encourage not only the girls, but all of you that despite, I'll continue repeating this, despite the challenges that you will face throughout the boot camp, just be strong. If you want someone to call, just call your friends. I'm sure you have friends if you have a friend that you're with in the same class, just call them. Study with someone, don't study on your own, you will die. You will die of stress if you study on your own. Just call someone, tell them, I'm not understanding anything. Let's just finish this sprint together. If you do make it, it's fine. If you don't make it, it's also fine. But don't forget to call that someone who's there and tell them that I need help. Don't be scared to call for help. I used to call a lot, not going to lie. I used to call a lot of people for help, and that really helps me. And okay, I think we have a question session at the end. That's all I have. Yeah, if you have any questions at the end. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you so much, Elizabeth, and we are so proud of whatever you've been able to achieve. So with us, we've also been joined by another DirectEd scholar, Dennis Mwangangi, who is a former student of Mangu High School, went through our program, and he's currently on his internship with one of our West Tech Farm partner called Charlie. Dennis, thank you so much for joining us. So you can proceed if you're ready. So kiddos, maybe we could also unmute Dennis Mwangangi.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Hi. As Moses has introduced me, my name is Dennis. I'm sure you're wondering why my background is so dark. My apologies. I was in a short meeting. Probably you can't see me. I'm so dark. You can only see my shirt. But aside from the point, I'm also a scholar DirectEd. I'm also an electrical engineering student at the University of Nairobi. And I'm also a full stack developer. So I'd like to share my experience with DirectEd. I'm sure most of you here, fresh from high school, were like me a year back. You are in a dilemma. One of the biggest decisions you have to do is decide what are you going to do with your life. What is the purpose of my life? Will I be a doctor? Will I be a plumber, a teacher, a pilot? I'm sure everyone has dreams. Everyone has got to have a dream. And I was in the same position as you. I actually never had thought of coding or programming as something that I will find myself doing. I always saw myself as maybe a doctor so and so somewhere. Finally, I'd found a cure in cancer after 5 years, but never coding. In fact, I could barely navigate my Windows laptop. I was more familiar with the wallpaper than the technologies that run websites and such. And when DirectEd came, yes, I was a bit skeptical, but I decided to take my opportunity. And let me tell you, I have never regretted that choice. So as Elizabeth has mentioned, we had the 6-month boot camp, and not just learning about coding. And first of all, we started not only with, you can start with just a smartphone and proceed later on, that I'm sure has been mentioned. I'd say one of the biggest experiences has been not just learning from the instructors, but also my fellow directed scholars. I'm sure Liz has mentioned how she was calling various students. I also did that. You know, no man is an island, but working together and learning from each other was the best thing. In addition to that, I'd say not just learning coding skills, but also soft skills that are in the real world. For example, we had one with Jessica Pointing, who was talking to us about getting internships, as she had gotten internships into firms like Microsoft, JP Morgan and Chase and such. So learning not just coding, but also how to use it in real life and the skills that you'll need to navigate life. And not only after the internship do they like give you a certificate, but they also help you in securing an internship, like Elizabeth and I and many others did. Elizabeth and I actually worked together at Charlie as interns, and the experience has been much more eye-opening, because you can imagine at 18 years old working at a Western tech firm, and you're just at the beginning of your university courses. So the issue of, as Elizabeth has mentioned, you get something small to provide for yourself, not just every time going to mom or dad asking, can I have something small? I need to go somewhere. Uh, Personal effects like that. And not just that, also the connections I have made with not just people from here, but also in the US and in other parts of the world, I'm sure will come handy not only in this section of my life, but also in my future career opportunities. And I'm sure it will to you as well. Furthermore, I think something else that should be highlighted is, pardon me, just a minute. Oh, sorry, I would lost. Something maybe has not been mentioned is an alumni network that is in progress. DirectEd is very keen on not just having students in the internship and the coding bootcamp itself, but also building a community of like-minded individuals that can push themselves to the next level. For example, having your own startup, uh, finding jobs from other students and projects that you can work together. I think that is one thing that is very handy in that. Uh, I'd say to the incoming students, this is not going to be easy. It will not. But I think if you put your mind towards it, work together with your fellow students, ask questions, don't be afraid to ask. You can not only ask your fellow students, the alumnus members who are also here, you can ask, search for contacts and you can get them, and we'll be happily available to help you in any of your needs. So with that, I think that is it from me, and I'll pass it to the next speaker. Thank you, everyone, for listening.
Thank you so much, Dennis. Thank you so much for those very good sentiments. So next we're going to hear from one of our parents, Mr. Duncan. I hope he has joined us. So maybe as I check on him, maybe Simon, could you take over and maybe share the next steps?
Yes. So as many of you might wonder, when does this start? Um, and the answer is we are actually starting next Monday. So this coming Monday, the first introductory course will be held. Now, there will be a second one. There will be a second intro course later in February where we are primarily going to have students from Chania High School and a few other national high schools. This first cohort, the ones who are and in this call, you are all from Kagumu, Mangu, Mary Hill girls and possibly some from NRCF. But if you are unable to join this particular first one, then there'll be a chance for the second one as well. You don't have to do computer in high school. We assume zero knowledge, so you don't need to have learned anything beforehand. And in fact, both of our top students here today, Elizabeth and Dennis, none of them did any computer, as they both mentioned before. No programming, nothing at all. So that is not going to be a barrier. Feel free to ask more questions in the chat. Kelvin asks, must you have a laptop to pull through? You don't need a laptop to succeed in the introductory course. If you don't have a laptop, then you will be able to apply for the Access Scholarship because for the boot camp, you need a laptop. But the boot camp starts later. I can give you a little bit of a timeline while we wait for Moses to check up on our next speaker, so that you are aware of when everything is happening. So, okay. So Moses is back. Before I hand it over to you, let me just share this so people are aware of the timeline. So as you can see here, currently we are here in January, February. We'll be having some intro courses. In February, late February to May, the boot camp is happening. And then from June onwards, there will be the internship. Many of you might start university in September or October, but we'll have a conversation about that later. Next one, the schedule. So Jack asks, how does the schedule for the bootcamp look like? The schedule is quite detailed, and I don't have it with me at the moment, but broadly speaking, it consists of a morning check-in every day and wrap up on a Zoom. And during the day, there is self-study and some workshops. So we have some video workshops like this covering everything that's not covered by our video pre-recorded lectures. There is a submission that will be required every few days, and there are weekly quizzes as well, where we test students' knowledge at the end of every week. And if you do well on these quizzes, you get small prizes, small cash prizes, just to incentivize students to work hard. Moses, is the next speaker ready?
Uh, I think he's actually preparing, but I think we can proceed with the next segment as he gets ready.
Okay, okay.
Mm.
So we continue then with the Q&A because we've already started. I'll let some kiddos answer the role of the parents and perhaps add some what I missed on the schedule.
Okay, I think the schedule is good enough, but on the role your parents can play, maybe just in case, it's highly unlikely, but if you guys don't have a phone even for the intro week, your parents can support you by allowing you to use their phones in the meantime. And if you can actually make it through and, make it to the main boot camp, again, as Simon said, you can apply for the Access Scholarship so that you get a laptop. Outside of that, I guess if there's a lot of you that are supporting your parents right now by working, maybe for the first week, since the course is grueling, I guess they can give you some time off so that you can focus on your studies, giving you a fair chance alongside your friends. I think another question that I see here is you may need a laptop during the bootcamp if you make it. Yes, the bootcamp, the main bootcamp, the one that's 11 weeks, that requires a laptop. But again, if you don't have one, apply to become an Access Scholar and uh, we might be able to provide that. I guess high-end device. So I guess maybe for those of you that already have laptops, all you need is something with 8 GB RAM, uh, preferably an SSD. If it's not an SSD, it's also fine. Mm, but that's it. And maybe the processor would be fifth generation, or higher. But the requirements are not that well, they're not that strict. But what I'd actually recommend is input your specs into Google and see if you can use that for web development. Or if you're skeptical that your laptop might not perform, you can reach out to me, write to me, and then uh, I'll evaluate if it's good enough. How can you access the scholarship application? So the scholarship application is going to be distributed to you after you start the intro week. It will provide you with a link where you apply for the scholarship, and also the documents and necessary steps that you need to undertake.
And it's worth mentioning that the scholarship not only covers laptop, it's also Wi-Fi, a little MiFi device, data bundle, and if we have some in-person events, and for those we also cover transportation costs for those who need that.
The classes are officially starting on Monday, 8 in the morning, but we will provide you with resources on Friday that you need to go through if you are to start studying on Monday morning. So you need to go through them and then come on Monday morning. And if you have trouble setting up your devices, we'll be there to assist. Then you can begin your studies then. So don't forget, mark it in your calendars. Friday, you'll be receiving an email from us containing the documents. The workshops are online. So uh, even during the main boot camp, all the workshops that you undertake, everything is online. It happens on Zoom.
So even though
Maybe just add on this.
yeah, please add, and then I'll take over.
With the exception of like a few days, such as the launch day and other days that we might require you to come in person, the course is most of the studying is happening online, and your exams are also happening online.
We have plans to set up local hubs, however, so some small offices we can study together. And but this is not something we can guarantee yet because we're still negotiating and we're looking for partners for this. But our hope is at least towards the boot camp or the internship that there are offices that you can work from, so you get a proper quiet environment. Um, Kidus, you can
I
continue.
guess. Okay, so for the WhatsApp group, we'll send you the link alongside the study documents on Friday. So be on the lookout for that. Uh, you do not require any study materials of your own. We will give you materials that we have prepared for you. Is there a session tomorrow at 8? No, there's not. There isn't a session tomorrow at 8, but in case any of your friends missed this one, there's one on Saturday at 6 in the afternoon. Yes, a smartphone is enough for the intro classes. As for the specifications, I think once you get the documentation, that all of that will be clarified. How do you submit your exams? So the exam is going to be on a platform called HackerRank. We'll just send you a link and you'll take the exam. But if you require additional info on the exams, we will hold like an information session on Friday, not this Friday, but the Friday of the week after you started your basically January 12th. I think it would be January 12th, yeah. On January 12th on specifically targeting the exams. How many students will make it to the boot camp? I think I made a mistake earlier. So we have a spot of 100 students for you guys, our Kenyan cohort. So there's 100 seats to fill. Uh, and I mean, if you pass the exam, you can make it. for those without scholarships, is the boot camp paid for? I think we forgot. I don't know if we hadn't mentioned this, but everything is free. You don't pay us a dime or a penny. We're a non-profit. If you actually make it through all the way to the internships, we might pay you.
But so the
Well,
question is, we don't admit students if they don't. Um, well, either you're admitted and you can join the boot camp, or you're not admitted and then you cannot join. So you cannot pay your way in.
well, majority of the communication carried out on WhatsApp or email. WhatsApp. Once we get the WhatsApp group going, we're going to be using WhatsApp mainly, but also you guys need to be on the lookout on your emails because we'll be using a bit of both.
Yeah, so for research surveys and some tests, we will send out emails, especially now in the beginning. So, but as soon as the WhatsApp group is up and ready, and we are confident that everyone who is in the chat, we will say, here's what you need to know. There's also an email. So we will tell you, we've also sent out an email with this information, if there's something we're sending out via email. Usually these are things like certain surveys we want you to fill in. But typically it's going to be WhatsApp. You need to be in the WhatsApp group.
I think another question is there a way to invite our friends who are not in the schools currently allowed? So normally we only work with schools that we partner with, but if you have friends that are interested in enrolling in the program, they could put us in touch with their schools and we can try to work something out. You can you can message Moses or share his contact.
And to add on this, we are fully remote, and the material we share with you, we cannot limit it, of course, but we will not admit students and give them scholarships if they are not part of one of our partner schools. So this is all we can say here. Um, because we will check all the students for the boot camp. We will check with our partner schools if they went to these particular high schools, and we'll also check the grades, whether or not they have the correct grades for it. Because the admissions to the boot camp is evolving, and we're reevaluating how we will do it. But in the last year, it was a combination of KCSE exam scores in English and maths, and also based on the performance of the intro course. This is not some we haven't fully determined how we will do it this year, but if you do very well on the intro course, then you will definitely be accepted. And in the last year, you were also given a direct access to the course if you had A in mathematics and A in English, KCSE. You're also welcome to unmute yourself if you now it's possible to unmute if you want to ask that way.
So how will you like how will you make us join the group? As in, how do we join the WhatsApp group?
Uh, Sorry, could you please repeat the question?
I'm asking, how do we join the WhatsApp group? Will you like
Yeah,
add us?
okay. We'll send you a link that you can use to join the WhatsApp group on Friday. So Friday, you're receiving multiple things from us. One of them is the link to the WhatsApp group, and then it's two documents. One helping you to set up your devices, and two detailing how you basically study with DirectEd, how to go over the materials, and stuff like that.
Huh?
Uh, are we allowed to use other study material? I mean, for sure, the internet is your friend. But I would recommend going through the modules and also using additional materials to make sure that you've covered all the topics that we test for.
And regarding KCSE, we haven't fully determined yet how we're going to use it. But last year, if you had KCSE, straight A in English and in mathematics, then you were admitted. But this was not the only way. You could also be admitted by getting top performance. Okay, so I hope that answered the questions. And please unmute yourself once you've done asking a question. For now, focus. I think the key, if you're a student, focus on doing well on the course, rather than the specific details. You've already done your KCSE exams, and so that's, you know, if you're lucky, you get good enough grades to be immediately admitted. But either way, it's good to do your best in the intro course. We're 100 students at least for the boot camp. This means we have students from Maryhill, Kagumu, Mangu, Chania, and Moses. Could you fill in me on which other high schools are participating?
So right now we have Mangu High School, Kagumu High School, Maryhill Girls, Chania High School. But again, after you're done with this, so we also have a couple of other schools that will be also joining us, one including Alliance Girls High School and a couple of other very national schools or rather top performing schools in Kenya. So are we done with the info or rather with the Q&A session?
Yes, I think
thank you.
so.
Or any other question, maybe before we give this opportunity to one of our parents. Okay, so with us, we are fortunate enough to be joined by one of our parents, dad to Dennis Mwangangi, who will also be able to share his sentiments, also being a parent whose son has joined the program and how the experience has been. So welcome, Mr. Duncan, welcome.
Hello, Moses, for having me. Thank you so much. Can see also Simon is there. Good evening, everyone. My name is Duncan Mwangangi, father to Dennis Mwangangi, one of the students at DirectEd Development Foundation Scholarship. Mine is actually very brief. First and foremost is to thank DirectEd Development Foundation led by Simon and his team, Moses, Kidus, Christine, Kirobel, just to mention a few, for the great work that you guys did last year and what you've been doing up until now, including securing scholarships for these tech gurus, if I may call them as such. I was just reminiscing within myself during the day and saying, if Wings to Fly that is offered by one of the local banks has made a difference in the lives of the students, then DirectEd Development Foundation has done 100 times that. And personally, I'm very proud actually to be associated with a DirectEd Development Foundation, more so the training that these guys have received. I was actually sharing with Moses my feedback emanating from the trainings that these guys have got. And I was telling them the students that have gone through the program, not just only those who have gotten scholarships, not scholarship, but internships, they are miles and miles ahead of their peers because they have a head start. When these other guys are struggling with a few things like programming and all that, these guys, this is a walk in the park for them. Not to mention, of course, the cash that they're getting from the internships. For us, or for me as one of the parents of a student that is already in that program, I think it's a huge relief because these guys are able to, buy a few things for themselves and not all relying on you all the time. So DirectEd Development Foundation has come in handy in as far as in as far as parents are concerned, because we are instilling the right skills to these guys, and it's something that that I would recommend to any parent out there with the Form 4 graduate. Sometime last month, I was actually interested in having my alma mater students join the program. We made a few trips to the school, but unfortunately we were not able. But we were able to go to the girls' school. And my interest was if Mangu High School, Kagumo High School, Chania, the students can be co-opted in those programs, then why don't I make some efforts and have students from my former school also reap from the benefits from DirectEd Development Foundation training? And I'm sure there are some leads that we're getting from the director from Senegal Center. And at the end of the day, hopefully we'll have some girls joining this program and reap the benefits that are accruing from this particular program. So for me as a parent, if there's any parent on board, it's something I would recommend, because for me it's even more beneficial than even a regular degree course because of the skills that these guys are getting. Personally, I've also been able to learn a few things from Dennis. Matters technology. Now I know a bit of things about Java, HTML, JSS. At least I know a few things, and that is actually something I'm very proud of. Not least, of course, the internships that they are getting from those Western tech companies. It's something that I'm very proud of, and I'm actually happy to be associated with the DirectEd Development Foundation as an organization. So I don't have much to say. It's basically to register my appreciation on my own behalf and on behalf of the parents, particularly from Mangu High School, which I'm very proud of. And of course, the students that began the program, those who got internships, and those who did get, I'm sure the skills that they got will be able to help them, not just now, but even going to the future. Moses, thank you so much.
Wow. Thank you so much, Mr. Duncan, for those very wise sentiments. And we thank you so much even for creating time, regardless of your busy schedule, to be part of this amazing session. I think next I'm going to give it back to Simon, because I believe we've more or less pretty much had everything. So Simon,
Zuri Sana. And thank you everyone for those very kind words, starting with Elizabeth to Dennis. It's really heartwarming for us. As you understand, we work tirelessly, and most of us at the moment completely as volunteers, because we believe in this mission and we believe that we're making a massive difference. So it's important that we also show appreciation for those of you who show appreciation to us. So because that's what keeps us going now. Um, we have shared some details of both of two students. In the follow-up email that we'll send out, we'll include both the video for this recording, so you can, if you missed something, you can cover that. You can have a look at it again. There will be there will be way more details about the boot camp later on. So if there are further questions, I think you try to wait with those for now. The intro course is what's happening next. Focus on that. If the student passes that, then there will be, you can learn more. I will now, okay, I will give it to Christine as a last thing before we wrap up now. And with that, and then beyond that, Moses will be able to close the meeting and start to process the recording and upload it so that we can share it as soon as possible. Okay, so Christine, you can go ahead if you want to say something.
Yeah, okay. Thank you, Simon. I just wanted to respond to a common question I've gotten on the messages. So with the exam info session is not this Friday, it's the next one on 12. So it makes sense to have it at the end of the intro week. So again, it's not this Friday on 5th, it's the next one on 12, just in case someone else has the same question. Thank you.
Yeah, so everyone who's a partner of our schools is able to join this intro course. Everyone has the same opportunity. So with that said, I thank you for your time and have a good evening. Jome Jema, I think. Jone Jema, maybe. I don't know. I hope it was right.
Thank you so much, Simon. Jioni njema, but you're really doing an amazing work with learning Kiswahili. So mine is to thank everyone for their time and also participating in this info session. I believe opportunity, talent is everywhere, but opportunity is very rare. So this is an opportunity that has been granted to you. And my humble plea to you all is to grab this opportunity and run with it. I believe you guys are the next Dennis's, you're the next Elizabeths of this particular cohort. And we, as an organization, we are going to do much we can to make sure that we equip you with the right skills for you to become the tech change makers in this amazing continent. Something else maybe I'll also emphasize that make sure that you also, or rather you regularly check your emails and to really check your emails because we'll moving forward we'll be sharing with you a lot of emails, including the one that will also share with you a link to join the WhatsApp group. So make sure that you stay alert on your emails so that you also don't end up missing this opportunity. Like Kidus had mentioned, we are going to have, or rather, we're going to start our session intro course, on Monday. But of course, we'll get in touch with you before then. So mine is to thank you all. Thank you so much, the entire DirectEd team, led by Simon. Thank you so much, Mr. Duncan Mwangangi, for also being able to, out of your busy schedule, being part of this amazing session and also sharing your experience, sharing your experience of having a child or rather son who took part or rather undertook this amazing program. Thank you, Dennis and Elizabeth. We are really proud of you guys and what you've been able to achieve, and also for also scaling the DirectEd flag high. I think with that, not forgetting Christine and Kidus. I think all of you will be more, or rather, you'll be in constant communication with Kidus and Christine more often. So you'll also be able to interact with them more. With that, I think mine is to thank you and officially close the info session. But on the chat group, I think you have my number. You can also have that as well, and also Kidu's number. In case of any inquiry, you can actually maybe drop us a message on WhatsApp. So thank you so much, and have a good night.